little bit emotional there. There was another nice moment a minute ago between him and Bernardo Silva as well. There'll be some tough goodbyes this season for Pep Guardiola and some of his stalwarts. I mean, Bernardo Silva as well, 19 trophies at this club too. It's just incredible what he's achieved.
It really is, and I just spoke to him on the pitch there, thanked him for his services to the club. But he's still, you can tell he's in the heat of the battle, scratches all over his face, out of breath. He works so hard for this team, and they're not going to give up that title, that Premier League. You know, it's not over. They'll enjoy today. They know they're going to Bournemouth on Tuesday night. They've got another massive game representing this incredible club.
What will they do? Can they properly celebrate this? Because they've still got a couple of games there.
Well, I mean, they can do. It depends how you celebrate. You chat, you share it with your family, you enjoy the moment, you take in it, everything. I think this team is so accustomed to winning. You know, they're so driven, they'll be on it for Tuesday night. Massive game. You know, listen, we'll see what happens over at the weekend. But they have to go and beat Bournemouth to stay in the hunt, let's be honest. Listen, they'll enjoy themselves tonight, shall we say, but in a sensible way.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, look, here you go. Chelsea, the runners-up in the FA Cup this year, making their way up to the Royal Box. So let's get you back up to our commentary team. Fletch, Ali McCoy and Stephen Gerrard.
Thank you, Laura. Well, you don't need me to tell you that this isn't the walk that the Chelsea players wanted to make. They've got a huge summer ahead of them. It's their 20th defeat today in all competitions. It's a season without a trophy, and they go into the summer without a permanent manager, and with so many questions to answer and problems to solve. It's certainly a club that needs some work, a team that needs improvement, and a fan base, Stephen, that needs some answers. Today was the day where they could potentially have got some redemption for what's been a disappointing season, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, no, it's a missed opportunity. I think they can be proud of the effort, the performance. I thought the manager set them up in the right way. You'd have to give City that respect. You can't go toe-to-toe with this City team. You're not as good as them because they'll hurt you even more. But there's definitely a lot of questions at board level. I would say that the fans want answers to. They need to attract an elite manager to sort of coach these real talented players that they've got, and they need to recruit in the defensive areas for me. I think they need a centre-half to complement Colwell.
There's Callum McFarlane, who has had to step in twice this season. Hardly any experience, did his best to set this Chelsea team up the way he thought might prove to be successful, Ali.
Yeah, and you know something, they did okay. I thought they did okay. In the grand scheme of things, they've had a terrible end to the season. Was it 6 defeats in a row? 1 goal, João Pedro scored a goal. They were slightly better at Liverpool. You know, I didn't think they were brilliant in the semi-final, and they were all right again today. I don't think they did enough to go and win the game. So I wouldn't let the 3 average performances gloss over a poor end to the season.
His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales handing out the runners-up medals. Robert Sanchez receives his, and the 2 men at the end of the Chelsea line, the captain Reece James and the caretaker manager Callum McFarlane, who's going to go back and coach the under-21s when they've decided who the permanent manager is going to be. Thomas Tuchel, the former Chelsea head coach, the England head coach, one of those shaking hands with Callum McFarlane. The City players are waiting. Well, the brothers have stayed for the presentation. Of course they had 1 or 2 memorable nights themselves at Wembley in the last few months. From bitter enemies to great friends, it's great to see Manchester City through and through. And they wait now for the Manchester City players to make their way up the famous Wembley steps. I've got to say, one thing that I do like is that when you see the Champions League final, the European finals, they do all of this on the pitch. Yeah. There's something special about walking up there and receiving the FA Cup up there at the top of the steps where everybody can see you.
Oh, absolutely. Well earned. And I think you're right. You want to make it a spectacle, and it is a spectacle.
Stephen, tell me what this walk's like that they're about to make, the Manchester City players. There's the trophy.
It's a lot better when you're a winner. I've done it for Kenny more in the League Cup. Different to Cardiff, done it on the pitch, but yeah, special moment. It's not nice to pick the runners up, of course it's not.
One of the great trophies in all of professional sports. Maybe the most iconic club trophy in world football. And Pep Guardiola, why not, is going to lead Manchester City up the steps. What a day for the players, what a day for him. For the likes of Bernardo Silva and John Stones, it's the last time they'll walk up the steps to get a medal as a Manchester City player at Wembley. And after 10 glorious years, it might be the same story for the greatest manager in the history of Manchester City. The next few weeks will tell us what Pep Guardiola's future actually holds. 55 days ago, they made the same walk to pick up the League Cup. It's a familiar path trodden so many times in recent seasons by the Manchester City players and by the Manchester City manager. What a day for him, Alec.
Yeah, you're running out of superlatives, aren't you? He has been absolutely outstanding. 747 teams started out in this tournament, and it all ends this way with City going up those steps to lift the FA Cup, and you've got to say, well deserved as too.
It must be quite a tiring walk up the steps, Stephen, when you've lost, but you must float up there when you've won.
Oh yeah, it's a different feeling. Emotion, energy, you find it from somewhere. Lapping it up, all the appraisal.
It's not lost on anybody, look, that the conversation continues between captain and manager, two men who have won so much together, two men who have been through so much together. We know that one of them isn't going to be here next season. We wait to see about the other. Rodri involved in the conversation as well.
You can't underestimate the importance of senior players, that connection to the head coach, manager. They're like the outer layer. If you as a coach, in terms of your philosophy and your style, they help implement it on the pitch. Captains all over the place.
Well, Pep can't wait to get up there, I think, at the moment. He's waiting for everybody else. He's chomping at the bit, Pep.
Yeah, I can understand why.
So I think they've sorted out exactly who's going to do what when they get up there. And Pep Guardiola leads the Manchester City team up there, shaking hands with everybody. Another FA Cup for one of the great trophy winners in world football. A winner's medal from His Royal Highness to the great Guardiola. There's the hero of the hour. What a wonderful goal to decide this FA Cup final for Antoine Semenyo. Difficult season to start with after an injury for Mateo Kovacic, but he played his part when he came on today. And I think we're going to get a joint trophy lift. Bernardo Silva, the Manchester City captain, is going to be joined by John Stones, two players who are going to leave this club at the end of the season. That feels like the perfect way to do it.
Absolutely spot on. There's something fitting about that. It just seems the right thing to do.
There they are, the two men who are going to share the honour. Had the pleasure of bumping into John Stones in the hotel this morning.
Yeah.
Didn't know at that point whether he was going to play, would have looked to have been on the pitch. But we talked about Bernardo Silva a lot. He's meant the world to Manchester City, John Stones.
Yeah, great lad, great player. Played with him a few times in England, was around him a lot, really humble guy. Had a great career. He's having a few injuries at the moment, but I'm still sure there's a lot of takers for him.
So first they've got to get their medals. Another one for John Stones. And another one for Bernardo Silva. So those two will follow in the footsteps of Tony Book, Vincent Kompany, Ilkay Gundogan and others. And all that's left to do is to show the supporters the spoils of victory at Wembley Stadium today. So the Chelsea players look on, and the two Manchester City legends are ready. His Royal Highness hands them the famous old trophy. A kiss from Bernardo Silva. And John Stones and Bernardo Silva lift the famous trophy high into the air. For the 8th time, Manchester City have won the FA Cup.
Man City do it again, their 8th FA Cup. And John Stones and Bernardo Silva, the two that were lifting it there, that we say goodbye to for now. 37 in total between them. 37 trophies for Manchester City. They've just been incredible servants for the citizens, Joe.
They really have, and that felt special. Felt John Stones would obviously love to play. No doubt about it, in the back of his mind, he wanted to be on that pitch. But I spoke to him actually in the build-up for this game and said, you know what, enjoy the love you're going to receive from this special club. Whatever frustrations you feel as a footballer, Coley, you know that when you look back when you look back on your career and you realise how much this massive club, little old John Stones and Bernardo Silva, they adore you. You'll always be welcome. You've done so much for the club. Enjoy every moment of it.
And to see where the club has come in that time as well, especially from John Stones starting.
Yeah, I mean, both of them been wonderful servants for the club, and I think Joe's right in the sense, you know, when you leave your career and you think about that, you know, all of the ups and downs and the injuries and the losses and everything, and you if you're lucky enough as a footballer, you cherish to have one day like this. You know, these boys have had multiple days, but the main thing is when you finish your career, that you meant something to some fan base and everything like that. And them two boys, they are synonymous with everything that's been great about this club in the last 10-15 years, and they're deserving a good send-off, and this might be even better, you never know.
And an 8th FA Cup win for any club is incredible.
It really is. You know, I remember being here in 2011, 15 years ago, winning that first trophy that the club had won in a long time, and it felt so special, and we knew we were on the cusp of something. The investment and the way the club's been run, and now to go on. Now, what are the average two trophies a season while Pep Guardiola's been there? It's absolutely frightening, but it's relentless, and you've got to keep going and pushing, and that's why this club is doing what they're doing, because they've got someone like him in charge, and when he goes, they're going to have to get someone else like him in charge, because you've got to keep pushing, because the standards are so high, and there's so many great football clubs out there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, the ball's in his court. He wants to do. If he wants to carry on here and carry on winning, he'll do that. If he wants to call it a day and ride off into the sunset, then he deserves that. But I think the structure around the club, I think what they've done very well, Manchester City, is they looked at what we've done at Chelsea and the successes and the failures, and they learn from that. And they built, and they're very smart, the people there. And it's sustainable success now for 15 years, and it's up to everyone else. You know, no point people moaning about it. You know, this and that. They got the money. Listen, they're doing what they're doing. It's up to everyone else to step up and stop them. And that's Chelsea. That's Liverpool. That's Manchester United. It's the otherwise. You know, it's going to be. Mate, you can't be another 15 years 2 trophies every year. You know, everyone else needs to step up.
Okay, they've taken the FA Cup onto the pitch and they're running it over to their fans now. And this will be a great moment for them. It's been an interesting season. How would you sum it up? Because they've now done the domestic double in terms of the Cups. There's 2 games left in the Premier League.
Hey, look, it was on a knife edge. And if they don't win those 2 finals, it goes without saying it's a difficult moment. But they have. They're the facts. They're walking around with medals around their neck. James Trafford there has been brought in, only used in the cup games. Going to celebrate with him now. Congratulations, though. But the big moments, they've stepped up and they've won, and they're still going to be pushing. I promise you, they're not giving up on that league either. Still big moments. They're going to keep going.
And so much of that, Joe, is not just down to talent, but it's down to mentality, isn't it?
It's more down to mentality in any walk of life. You know, you like you said, you can have talent, but you've got to have the mentality and the mindset, and that's got to be driven within the culture of your club. You know, through the dark times, we saw Pep last year, you know, scratching his head on the side of the pitch because he wasn't working, and I knew then that will probably motivate him to find the solution, and he found the solution. And the only reason they won't win the league this year is if they run out of road. that old saying, you don't get beat, you just run out of time. And they are, because at the moment, you can't argue that they are the best side in Europe in terms of form. Chelsea were at it today, by the way, and they were just like fending them off and blocking, you know. That's the best I've seen Chelsea play in a long, long time. Manchester City are a top side, and top sides win trophies, and there they are.
There you go, there's the moment the champagne comes out. So do the fireworks and the ticker tape as well. And Man City will enjoy this. And another thing that you need when you talk about what it takes to be a successful team, we said there, Joe, it takes talent in your squad, it takes mentality, and it takes leadership as well. And Pep Guardiola has guided his side through some difficult times this season, and this is now an incredibly successful one.